Well, we're coming to you from Mahikeng here, where Premier Mokgoro has just concluded his State of the Province address. He touched on quite a number of things that his office is doing at the moment, and one of them is corruption. The Premier is joining us now to elaborate more on some of the key points that he touched on his speech. Premier, thank you very much for joining us. When it comes to corruption, I like how you mentioned that your office has done quite a progress in terms of making sure that people who are found to be involved in corruption do face the law. But you also did say that the issue now lies with law enforcement agencies that seem to be dragging their feet. Just tell us more about this.
Okay, with regard to matters that are in the pipeline, indeed in many instances, there are matters that we have identified, written up and passed on to law enforcement agencies. And unfortunately there have been a number of problems such as capacity and what have you. We are concerned that these capacity challenges seem to perpetuate ad infinitum. I must acknowledge that in some instances we have seen progress. So those are the external matters that we are talking to the entire state, pleading that we must see greater movement with regard to this. But there are also internal issues, because we have a responsibility in terms of our internal control system to identify these things, take action, process them, and so on. Now, one of the things internal that I have directed be done and are in implementation is to set up a forensic audit unit in Treasury reporting to the Premier. In addition to that, we recently through Treasury advertised to service providers for lifestyle audit. So that process is in implementation. I think in the next couple of days that person will start. So we can point to these two initiatives, which we think internally would be quite effective in helping us to root out this corruption.
In terms of figures, Premier, are you able to say for us how many cases so far you have brought forward? And what are some of the high position or ranking positions of some of the people who have been reported in terms of corruption? We know that even today it was the court case of the former MEC of Finance in the province and also former head of Department of Health. Are there other high position people that we are not yet aware of?
Well, let me put it this way. The cases would touch on virtually all levels. There are cases at leadership level, disappointingly so, at both appointed as well as elected officials. Obviously, there's not the space to spell out names, and these are the things we have referred to the law enforcement agencies, and we really are hoping for speedy processing.